It has been over 10 years since Skyrim released, and Elder Scrolls 6 is even farther away still. We know that TES 6 is likely to take place in either High Rock or Hammerfell, but I want to take a look at another potential province for a future game with the home of the Khajiit, Elsweyr. And what is up guys, Andrew from the Denmen here, and today let's take a look at a very unique region of Tamriel and the likelihood that it will ever be the main province of an Elder Scrolls game. There's a lot to go over, so if you are excited, make sure you leave a like and comment on what you want to see in the Elder Scrolls 6. But with that being said, we have a lot to talk about, so get comfy, grab that bottle of Hunting Brew Mead, and let's get right into the video. Starting off, let's take a look at the geography of Elsweyr itself. Now, if we were to get a game set in Elsweyr, this would be the first time that we would get to travel there in a mainstream game. That doesn't mean we haven't seen it before, because in the Elder Scrolls Online, the whole region was a part of the year-long story that happened all the way back in 2019. It was interesting to finally get to see the Khajiit homeland and was definitely a unique experience. But I think that a mainline title game can take it to the next level and make it that much better. Elsweyr itself is a very diverse land that lies in the southernmost area of Tamriel. It is bordered by Valenwood, home of the elves, to the west, and Cyrodiil, home of the Imperials, to the north. The actual province is split up into two major regions, with Anina and Palatine both being wildly different from the other. We'll go deeper into the climates of the two regions in just a moment, but in a nutshell, Elsweyr has vastly different regions made up of desert-like environments, badlands, and dry plains to the north, and towards the south, very fertile jungles and rainforests. Already you can see a game set in Elsweyr would resolve a lot of the diversity problems that people had with Skyrim and make for a visually stunning world. If Bethesda goes above and beyond here, then the game would look amazing, and I'd definitely be interested to see what they would do. The main inhabitants of the province are that of the feline race, also known as the Khajiit. These sentient cats were already native to the lands of Tamriel before any man or mer set foot on the continent, and a game set in Elsweyr could bring some rich history to this specific race. What makes the Khajiit so unique is the amount of diverse subspecies within the race itself, and would certainly make for an interesting dynamic for a game. The two distinct regions of Anina and Palatine are home to many of the different subspecies, so let's take a deeper look into the individual areas and what we will be seeing from them in a game set in Elsweyr. Anina is the northernmost region and is bordered by Valenwood to the west, Palatine to the south, and Cyrodiil to the north. The land here is covered with dry badlands, desert areas, and sprawling plains similar to what you would see in Hammerfell. Even though they are not as harsh as what you would see in Hammerfell, they still hold many secrets and dangers for travelers to uncover. A majority of the region is dominated by a large canyon known as the Scar, which stretches from the city of Rimmon in the northeast to the border of Valenwood. The vast canyon consists of subsections including Scar's Edge, which lies in the east. To the northeast is the Ashen Scar, which houses a shrine to the Daedric god of dusk and dawn, Azura. Southeast lies a fork in the canyon that surrounds the city of Orkrest that leads to a section known as the Weeping Scar. Near Orkrest lies the canyon city of the Stitches, which flows into Scab Ridge and finally ends with Scar's End, near the border of Valenwood. As you can see, there's a lot when it comes to just one canyon, and would make for an interesting location to travel across. All of the different subsections make for a unique environment and plenty of diversity along its path. Alongside the Scar, Anina is home to a lot of different cities, including the Great City of Dune, Orkrest, Rimmon, and Riverhold. Starting off with Dune, it is located on the western border of the province and is surrounded by ravines and a river that pours into the city. The city is layered with many districts, including one for the markets, homes, and temple area. Dune is known for being a merchant town and houses the largest Khajiit settlement. Orkrest is located in the center of the Scar and is a large epicenter for commerce within Elsweyr. The city is heavily walled and divided into two districts, with the western half being the market and more run-down part. The eastern half consists of more open areas like parks and much cleaner than its counterpart. Next up is Rimmon, which is the capital of Anina. Once you enter its walls, you can see the difference between the city and the land that lies just outside, with tropical plants and trees growing from its aqueducts. The diversity here is next to none and would be a great location to travel in a mainstream Elder Scrolls game. Finally, we have Riverhold, which is known for being the gateway into Elsweyr from Cyrodiil. There is still some Imperial influence within its borders, but is known for its markets of fresh delights in the center of the town. Overall, this would be a unique place to explore because of its interesting culture and how different it would be from the rest of Elsweyr. Towards the southern areas of the province, we have the region of Palatine, which is bordered by Valenwood to the west and Anina to the north. The environment of Palatine is some of the best we see around Tamriel, with dense jungles, rainforests, and tropical grasslands. I would like to point out that even though Valenwood does have a lot better forest areas, Elsweyr has a lot of very good features as well, including the Tenmar Forest and the great cities of Palatine. The Tenmar Forest is a sub-region within the province that lies between the great seaport city of Central and the home of the Main with Torval. Tenmar is primarily known for its production of moon sugar, which can be refined into the more addictive skooma found across Tamriel. Many secrets lie within its borders, and it would be a very interesting place to explore with a game set in Elsweyr. Palatine is set on the waters of the Topal Sea, which leads to the great port cities like the infamous Central. This highly populated seaport is home to many pirates and smugglers that work within the Topal and Southern Sea areas. The city is built on a hilltop overlooking the bay and has many marketplaces for commerce. More central to Elsweyr is the city of Corinth. Once the seat of power within the province, it is known for its master carpenters and lumberjacks ruled by the Carpenter Queen. And finally, towards the border of Valenwood, we have the great city of Torval. This is the home of the Main, which is somewhat of a ruler within Elsweyr, and only one of this subspecies of Khajiit can be alive at a time. Torval itself is home to many fishermen who roam the nearby waters. Found within its walls are many moon sugar cane gardens where the Main can normally be found meditating. The city of Torval is ancient and tied heavily to the culture of Elsweyr, and would definitely be an interesting location to explore. As you can see, Elsweyr as a whole is very diverse, with two completely different environments, from the dense jungles of Palatine to the harsh badlands of Anina. This would definitely be a unique province within this regard. The only downside I'd say for it is there are provinces that do these specific regions better, like Hammerfell and Valenwood. The cities within Elsweyr are also very unique, and I would love to see what Bethesda would do with places like Rimmon or the seaport city of Central. All of these different locations make for a great geographical contrast, and I would for sure love to see a game set within the Khajiit homeland of Elsweyr. Moving on from the geography of Elsweyr, we have the creatures that we would encounter within the province itself. We have an interesting dynamic within Elsweyr because of how diverse it actually is. From the northern end, we have desert-like environments and dry badlands, and towards the southern side, we have dense jungles and rainforests. These drastically different environments lead to a ton of unique creatures within the whole of Elsweyr. Take a look at more dry areas of the province and we can find creatures like assassin beetles, giant scorpions, camels, and sand roaches. Then in the more tropical areas, we have crocodiles, tigers, different species of rainforest birds, and two-legged armored reptiles known as Kagudi. Daedric creatures have also been known to inhabit Elsweyr and could possibly make an appearance for a game set in this province. Were creatures are a main factor for every Elder Scrolls game, and Elsweyr has a very unique look at this specific faction. Were lions and harpies are known to inhabit the province and would be very different from what we got in Skyrim. More were creatures would be a great addition to any Elder Scrolls game, and I hope that a game set in Elsweyr would fully expand on this area. As you can see, the two vastly different environments lead to a lot of unique creatures within Elsweyr, and a game set within this province has a lot of potential in this specific region. Beyond just the creatures that we would be seeing in the province, the main inhabitants of Elsweyr are the Khajiit, and they are some of the most unique we have seen in any Elder Scrolls game. One that focuses on the Khajiit specifically would definitely make for an interesting title, especially when we take a look at what we could possibly have. The amount of subspecies that there are within the Khajiit race is the most out of any species in Tamriel. They can resemble that of a house cat, all the way to a giant four-legged jaguar, and even some that are indistinguishable from wood elves. All of these unique appearances depend on the different phases of the moon and create the species known as the Khajiit. This would create an interesting dynamic for a game set in Elsweyr, and if done correctly, has a lot of potential. The final topic we need to discuss is the likelihood that a game would be set in Elsweyr. I'd say realistically that there are better locations that would likely be done first, including High Rock, Hammerfell, and possibly even Valenwood. But without a doubt, no other province compares geographically to that of Elsweyr, and that is why it makes for such a great location. I'd say the only downside for a place like this is that the Khajiit would be the main race in Elsweyr. The Khajiit have a very strange culture compared to others on Tamriel, which hardcore fans would enjoy the most, but to introduce newer ones to a game set in Elsweyr might be a little tougher to do because of this fact. This doesn't mean that it wouldn't be a main location or even an add-on for a future Elder Scrolls game, but for now, I'd say there are more likely provinces. This could all change very quickly though, and I hope that Bethesda will use Elsweyr at some point in the future. As a whole, the province of Elsweyr could make for an interesting location. From the dry badlands of Anaquina to the rainforest environment of Palatine, there is a lot to look forward to when it comes to this specific province. It would definitely be interesting to see what a game set in Elsweyr would look like, and hopefully we get it sooner rather than later. But that is all for me now though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment any videos you want to see in the future, and I'll see you all next time.